Hello, welcome to July 7th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation video, an exercise that I perform each and every morning shortly after waking up. It's now 4:49 a.m. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, including last night, to see how I did applying my objectives and principles towards, or applying my principles towards the challenges and opportunities that I met in furtherance of the objectives that I seek to achieve. I finish by thinking about the coming day and forecasting the opportunities and challenges that I can see and plan for them, and then prepare myself, ready myself for the unexpected. But first, a poem. So from John Keats, I'm starting to read the long poem within the book called Endymion. I don't know how to pronounce it. Endymion, Endymion, maybe. Who I had to look up that one word this morning. So it turns out that it's a very interesting word. It's a Greek name for a man who was either or maybe all of the above, a shepherd. I think he said it was a shepherd, a poet, and a deity, or king, shepherd, poet, or king, I think it was, in various forms. The story of this man has variations. And lots of interesting things happened in the course of his life, including being loved by the moon and loving the moon back, falling in love with Hera, who was the goddess of marriage, of all things, and of interesting things in marital propriety and marital bliss, and having the very curious thing happen of being given immortality of a sort, and the choosing by Zeus, and the choosing of his own time of death in another form, sleeping eternally, or either choosing to sleep eternally rather than die, in a very beautiful fashion, apparently, sleeping, that is, and also being caused to sleep forever in a cave, again in a beautiful fashion, by a woman who loved him, who was the moon. Various and sundries, very interesting. So anyway, this poem seems to be towards that person. Now I'm not going to go ahead and read the rest because it took me so long to study Endymion that really used up all my poetry time. So I'll save the reading of the first page. I'm going to read this long poem page by page, day by day, in the coming days. A boy needs a hobby. So last night and yesterday, I slept very well last night. Not much to say about that. Right up to the alarm, and then some a little bit. Yesterday was a good, solid day of work, another great day of work. I'm working so hard these days. I tackled the challenges and opportunities that I've met at work without any issue, really. Pretty easily, I'd say. Nothing really ambushed me, although I know that things will and can. I will say that yesterday was interesting. It was flavored and seasoned with the anticipation of retirement. As we get closer and closer, I'm still a year and a half away, but Yumiko's under a year now. She's down to like 11 months. Or is it? Let's see. So it's now July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 11 months. I'm really starting to feel the anticipation. Now, at the same time, I'm also tempered by some thoughts. I finished, in fact, the main body of the story of 2 Years Before The Mast, and I'm reading just the conclusion, which Richard Dana Jr. wrote after 2 years after he had concluded the voyage, his concluding thoughts about life as a sailor. Anyway, I was struck by his description in the book about coming home after 2 years at sea, and being unwilling and hesitant to get off the ship at the port of Boston, at the harbor there, and how he described other sailors having the same experience, the hesitancy to leave one staid and steady way of life in favor of another, in favor of something different and new, even though for the preceding year and a half, 2 years, he had desired nothing more than to come home. So likewise, I desire so much to go to the new retired life, Not that Yumiko and I are not enjoying now. In fact, that's catalyzed us to enjoy our current life now. We're making very good use of each and every Sunday to have fun. But at the same time, I'm enjoying so much the anticipation of the new life to come. Far more than any other life transition I've ever done before. It's so much fun. It's like Dana anticipating the arrival at Boston and feeling a little bittersweet once he got there. But then he got over it promptly once he got off the ship. So too, me, I'm sure. Unless life has other plans and kills me or robs me of my vitality, or something happens, which it could. Things could happen that could change our plans. You never know. But still, I'm planning and having fun. Let's do the good life. 7 objectives. These are: 1, to be always ready to die. 2, to make good and effective use of time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions. 6, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities. And 7, to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And by the way, I'm going to embrace the whole retired life thing. I'm going to embrace it going forward and make that a centerpiece of my thoughts and discussions. Why not? It's the reward of the past 40 years of hard work. Now, my 34 principles are: war, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, going too fast, huh? War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, maturity, the pirate ride, social principle, principle of family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be born, the feast of Offal, distraction, agency, pardon me, agency and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, script writing, the season of philosophy, arena and utility, nothing is enough, and the principle of fun. Why does it feel like it's like only a fraction of what they all should be? Because I went fast. I don't think I really missed that many, but that didn't feel like 34. Maybe tomorrow I'll use the book. And when will I ever get back to doing a proper job? I just keep running out of time because I'm reading poetry and before I get started and doing other things. It is my prerogative. I am not required to go into the details. I just have to touch each one. That's all I need to do at the bare minimum. But I wish I would do a better job. All right, so now what for the day? Well, it's a Friday. It's a Friday on, which I get to start half an hour later than usual. So I'll start work at 7 a.m. rather than 6:30. Oh, maybe I'll start at 6:30 anyway. Then I'll finish at 3:30 instead of 4. Well, maybe I'll finish it at 3 if I do start at 6:30. That would be fun. I've got a challenging meeting, but I can handle that today. Because this whole thoughts of retirement is like, blah, blah, blah. So what? Even though it's a year and a half out. It's an amazing catalyzing feeling. I have to temper that with the reality that life doesn't often follow a script, does it? But it's good to plan it out accordingly and be ready to fall apart and die, or just to fall apart, or to have it all fall to pieces. Anyway, I am. With that, am I ready to die? Which is what my new way of closing this. Am I ready to die today? That means 3 things. 1, do I have my affairs in order? 2, do I have my relationships in order? And 3, how am I doing with my life, my personal life purpose, which is simply to complete my book, Going Alone. First, my affairs, my paperwork, all my documents, etc., for really to leave everything settled. So if I die, everything's fine, and they're totally in order. I mean, right up there's my shelf of important books. Although I do need to get a copy of Walden to throw up there, so it'll be complete. So yeah, that's good. That's true. These are the 18 books that are listed at the back of Going Alone. Minor point. I mean, I would hope that my family would keep them, but it's no big deal if they don't. But the affairs in terms of all the paperwork for retirement accounts, all that stuff, yeah, that's all in order. It's in a document, and the Yumiko knows where it is, and I've got it in the files. Although I should remind her of that. I should refresh that in some way. I will show that to her today. And if I was to die, she is able. I should give her the information. I'm going to do that. I should prepare another updated document with the information for the pension fund too, so she can access that. Although I have friends that will help her with that. I should not rely on that. I should have the document there, single document that my wife can access upon my death, to be able to easily access everything and make her escape. Her retirement escape. Okay. So the affairs in order, yeah, that part of it is. My relationships, they're all in order. All my relationships are sound and solid. There's nothing to be done. Sure, my mom, what do I do about my mom? Well, she doesn't want to have a relationship with me, so I continue to extend all the branches of as I have been for decades now. And I check on her. I offer my best, but that's the best I can do. My wife, she and I have never been on better terms. My daughter, we're on fine terms. Fine, I use the word fine because, and I should use a stronger word than that. All I mean by that simply is that she's a bit distant. But that's to be expected as a 22-year-old finishing university. Her focus is elsewhere. She shouldn't be focusing on mom and dad anymore. She's focusing on the life that she's about to build. And there'll be time for us to have closer. And it's the same with my wife too. I mean, so our relationship is fine. It's at the juncture should be expected to be with the young adult facing outward into the life of their own. And she's grown into a wonderful human being. So, I mean, stable and solid inside. And I couldn't, and the young man that she's been with now for the last, 3 or 4 years now, Chris, he's a great guy. I really like Chris. I need to tell him that more often, how much I appreciate him. Good guy, great guy, wonderful young man. So yeah, that's all good. My brother, we're as close as we can be. His kids, as close as we can be. I'm continuing to make efforts always. There's a distance there that I would love to overcome, but it's difficult to do given how different we are. So yeah, that's good too. Friends, that's fine. Okay, now my personal goal, going alone, done, finished. That's all I need. And I've got 4 more copies that I need to ship out. I send free copies out to people, and I've sent a lot. I think I have 146 copies out so far, and since the book was published, I've got 4 more on the list to send out, and then I'm going to stop basically sending things out for free because I need to transition into retired mode. I'll have to living on a fixed income, so I'll send those 4 out. I mean, the international shipping is a killer. It costs like $45 to send a book to overseas just for the shipping. So I've been eating that myself for 146 shipments. The domestic ones are not cheap, are not expensive at all, but still, it's a lot of work. So I got 4 more to go, and there are 4 that are sitting right over there waiting to do. And I'll get those out, and then I'll stop, and I'll just refer people to the bookstore, to online store. They can buy it from Amazon or from my website. I can't keep that up anymore. So that's not too, yeah, I'm ready. If I get diagnosed with cancer or have a sudden stroke, that's fine. I mean, my life is as I like to say, done if not finished. What that simply means is that I've checked all the check marks of the things that I needed to do and that I wanted to do, and the rest is gravy. Even if it's a debilitating illness, I can take that too. The one thing is that the challenge for me is how am I going to handle the hard fall? Like, let's say that it's a really long and dwindling and painful and expensive death. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to live just for the sake of living, and I certainly don't want to. We have a retirement fund, Yumiko and I, for in addition to our pension. It's not a lot, but it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's not a lot. Maybe if you know what I mean. And I don't want to diminish that. We got plans for that. That's what we're going to use to buy the house in Japan. I don't want to burn that up, keeping me alive. So the question is, what to do about that? That's a challenge. I'm not sick, but it's a what if, right? Preparing for that. Don't even really talk to my wife about it. I should talk with her more about it. We walk every day together. It's a subject she doesn't like to talk about. Some people don't like talking about that stuff very much. But maybe I should keep it to myself, but we'll see. But she is the kind of woman that she's like, she wouldn't want gratuitous talk on such subjects, but when it comes time to talk, she'd be more than willing to. Like if it really came down to it, and I did have cancer, and it was going to be like that, or something like that. Cancer has been the most probable one, the one that has the long and lingering, painful, expensive death. She'd talk about it with me then. But why? Why talk about it? It's like beforehand, just do the obvious. Prepare, be ready, live a genuine and engaged life, and then deal with things as they come as well. Be prepared, but not overly, gratuitously focused on them. That's my wife. I think I've gone far enough. And with that, I'll stop. And I wish you all the best. Now my life is done, if not finished. See you later.